I actually love the Nintendo Switch. I think it's an awesome system. I think that for exclusivity, it has probably the best or one of the best libraries that I have seen in a long, long time, with generally almost every exclusive being very fun and high effort. I think the games and the effort put into the system are fantastic, and I think that Nintendo has been, honestly, making strides to do a lot of good things in recent years. Listen to the community, bring back franchises like Metroid that people have been waiting for. But the eShop sucks. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you enjoy this, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. As always, we appreciate it. Nate, I don't think there's any explanation for what the eShop is. It's just the digital selection of games on their platform.
What does the word digital mean?
It means with my fingers, Al. Okay. Al is actually what they called me in high school. I went by the pseudonym Al.
Got it.
And I was so good with my hands, they called me Digit Al.
That is cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Diane.
Yeah, the eShop on the Switch is probably the worst eShop I can think of.
Yeah.
And that's worse than the Wii. That's worse than the 3DS. That's worse than even the Wii U. The eShop on the Switch is bad. Mm-hmm. I remember when this first came out, they had the section for like new releases, but then they had like this mismatched, jumbled section of just like whatever was in there. Now they did fix it a little bit, but it's still pretty bad. Like it's slow. You can sit there for like 15 to 20 seconds just waiting for something to load.
Oh, sometimes it doesn't even load right. That's something I wanted to talk about too with something like the NES or SNES built-in emulators now that you can, download and then just play those games, right?
Yeah.
Not only has Nintendo removed access to buying those games,
mm-hmm.
because worth mentioning, on the Wii U, there is an entire section of the eShop where you could click and it would organize things by platform.
Yeah.
If you want to look at Game Boy Advance games, here you go. If you want to look at DS games you could play on your TV, here you go. SNES, whatever. Not only is that gone, and all of those games are pretty much now exclusively locked behind Nintendo Online, where you have to play it there, but you can't even download them.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to play them through their emulation service that you have to pay for. And earlier today, we had that whole service bug out where we had to just completely shut the app and restart it.
Yeah.
Where it just wouldn't select anything for an NES game.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you don't care about owning these games, which I know I still think it's misguided, but some people don't. Some people are very on board with this company attitude of you'll own nothing and you'll like it.
Right.
Because that's kind of the new attitude now with all these companies with digital stuff is we will take it away at any time. If we even let you download it, in this case, you can't. Give me X amount of dollars a month and you can play it. Even if you are for some reason on board with that, it doesn't always even work right.
Right.
It's almost akin to PlayStation Now in a way. It's just that the games are so much simpler that they themselves don't have problems running once you get it to run.
Yeah, and like even a lot of the game selection is pretty poor. Like with those emulators, just to expand on that point a little bit, the like half the games are good. Like Donkey Kong Country is a good game. The Super Mario games are on there. But then like the other half are like dumb, like that Baseball Simulator 3000 game or whatever that is. And it's like, who plays these games?
Right.
Why is this here?
That's the weird thing, is that there's a lot of big titles ignored for very, very niche things.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with there being niche offerings on that service. I think that it's disappointing that we don't see more of that on eShops.
Yeah.
But they ignored a lot of big games to just cut right to that.
Yeah.
There's games that are still not available on the Switch that are available on the Wii U.
Yeah, like Wario's Woods.
Yeah, I suppose that's one of them, yes. Yeah. That's a good point. I thought you were like leading up to a meme there.
Well, I think Wario Woods is kind of a meme just in general. But
fair enough. I mean, I think too that my biggest gripe with it is not even being able to buy the games.
Right.
But even if I was fine with it, the selection is bad. Being able to get to what you want is bad. And you know what else? The couple times that they've introduced a retro game type thing, they have removed it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, you missed out on that Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon,
and the Light and whatever it's called.
we are losing all credibility.
I know.
I'm very tired.
Same.
Blade of Light. But,
yeah,
that game was only available on the eShop for a limited time.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, do you want to buy this retro game?
Yep.
Well, if you don't have your money right now, too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought it, but I didn't know it was only a limited time. I just bought it because I wanted it.
Right.
You didn't.
Well, I was going to.
Yeah, and now you can't.
Right. I mean, I can still get a different version of the game
right.
Online. Or, here's the other thing. Or I could just emulate it for free if I really wanted to.
Yeah, or you could play the remake of Shadow Dragon on the DS, which is on the Wii U.
Right. But I think it's funny. Like, that's the thing, right? Here's what this does with not just retro games, but games in general. You tell a bunch of people in the 21st century who have computers who can play all these games on their computer for free.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you want to play the games you like that maybe you grew up with or your dad talked about or whatever, or you got into Star Fox now, maybe you want to check out the original, or you love Super Mario Odyssey, check out the original. Oh, but you have to pay us X amount of money each month just to emulate it on our machine. Those people are all going to go to like ROM sites and download them with a VPN.
Right.
And just play them on their PC for free.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it's illegal. Well,
it happens.
No one cares.
Right.
That's the thing is like almost no one cares.
Mm-hmm.
And so the problem that I have with this stuff, with their game distribution, with the Shadow Dragon, and even with Super Mario 3D All-Stars, I almost messed up the name, but with 64, Sunshine, obviously, and Galaxy, right? When you make these things limited time, and then you say, but now you can't get it, people are just like, oh, well, I guess I'll just go steal it.
Yep.
I guess I'll just go take it and play it. Because all you're doing is telling someone who wants to give you money and play a game, I don't want your money, you can't play my game.
Yep. Or it's just saying, I get your money right now, but not next month.
Right. I don't want it next month.
Yeah, but then some people are like, well, I don't have enough money this month.
Too bad.
So it's like, okay.
That's like their attitude's like, too bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of silly. And the eShop in general on the Switch, because I think the Wii U eShop was surprisingly good.
Yeah, especially at the end of its life cycle.
Yeah.
Like right now you can go on there. It is a retro game. I wouldn't say paradise because there's a lot missing.
Right.
But it's kind of a treasure trove. I own about 40 retro games on there.
Yeah.
Actually, if you include
41.
Oh, nice. Do you really?
No, I don't know.
Okay. If you include DS, Game Boy Advance, and NES, SNES, N64, Wii even.
Yeah. The only thing they're missing is the GameCube.
Yeah, GameCube. Yeah, that was disappointing. But I own about 40 digital games on there, and they all fit perfectly because they're tiny files.
Right.
And I was able to download them and play them whenever I wanted, and the selection was huge. And it's worth mentioning, this was not just the selection for retro games. I feel like Nintendo, it's not just about old games, right? Nintendo is very much about its history.
Yeah.
And they've always been that. And you can see that now. What are some of their most popular things that are still coming out? Things from their history.
Right.
Metroid, Mario.
Or remasters of past games.
Metroid and Mario are two of the biggest. Zelda.
Yeah.
Those things are still coming out now because they were so big back then.
Right.
But they won't let you play what got them to where they are now. I think that's really misguided and silly. The Switch is so capable of all this stuff, and I don't understand why Nintendo is so weird about making their games available. We even got this information online from an industry insider before, not us, but like the community did. The Metroid Prime Trilogy remaster, the actual one, is supposedly good to go.
Yeah.
It's just not being released yet. That could be false, but I just find it amusing that it's like, well, you have these 3 amazing games you can make available to everybody and rake in cash, but you're like, not right now.
Right.
I've never understood this about this company. They're just very ready to ditch work that they've already put in on something at a whim. Star Fox 2, the original Metroid Dread, where it was already very far in development. And it didn't happen back then.
Yeah, it's kind of pathetic. And the thing that's sad to me is there's so much money that they could make. For example, I don't think they're ever going to do this. I'm not saying it's needed, but I'm saying they could do this. I would like it. They could easily remaster Ocarina of Time, and people would buy it.
Well, that now 3DS one.
Yeah, the original holds up.
Yeah.
And the 3DS one looks good. But they could put it on the Switch, and I guarantee people would buy it.
Well, do you remember that tech demo someone made showing what Majora's Mask could have looked like on the Wii U?
Yeah.
And it looked amazing.
Yeah, I remember that.
And, that's the same thing, too. By the way, can I mention with that, since you're on Zelda, you can't even buy a lot of the Wii U games that the Switch could easily handle digitally.
Right.
Things that are still not here, like Zelda Wind Waker HD or Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
And that 3D version of Legend of Zelda, I think that could, of Ocarina of Time for 3DS, I do think that could easily be reworked into a full remaster. It already was one for 3DS, just enhance it further.
Right.
There's a lot of opportunities with this eShop to expand on it. Imagine an eShop with every game Nintendo ever made.
Yeah, and they could organize it with sections I can go on the GameCube. You can go into the SNES section. Now, maybe those games are on the eShop, but there's no way to organize them so you can see them.
And very few are on the shop.
Yeah, I mean,
even now.
I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but maybe something like the original Earthbound is on there. I doubt it. But maybe it is.
I have looked. It's not.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Just for the sake of the argument.
Okay, Ben.
Maybe it is. But there's no way to know that unless you specifically search it up. Whereas if you pop on your Wii U, you can go oh, I want to look for Earthbound Beginnings. I'll click on the NES section. Oh, there it is. I don't know. And that's kind of my main problem with the eShop. It's just the way it's laid out is so poor. You have the new release section, which is fine. I mean, that's all the new releases in there. Then you have the coming soon section. That section's fine. Those two are fine. But then it after that, it really drops off in quality. It's just, then you have this random section. I don't even remember what it's called. It's something like great sales or something. I don't know. But it's a section with all the sales. And it's and I feel like you could have a section that organizes stuff better. Or if you even want to put it into the search bar section where you can specifically search up retro games, specifically search up new game. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you organize by platform or by whatever.
I feel like this is something that could instantly enhance the eShop.
This is not to mention the fact that the whole thing runs very slow and sluggish.
Yes. Yeah, so if you want to pop on the eShop, you're going to be waiting a little while.
Which is funny because part of the whole justification for making you finally pay for online was to enhance the online services.
Yeah.
They don't feel very enhanced.
No. That's the other thing. Sorry, I'm going to switch subjects here. This is the other thing that bothers me. Speaking of paying for online, they recently announced in a Nintendo Direct that happened a little bit ago, from when we recorded this, that they were including a online expansion pack, if you will, where they let you play Nintendo 64 games
and Sega Genesis, I believe too. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one, I really want the Nintendo 64 controller, but that's off topic. Second of all, this is really dumb.
Because you have to pay more, by the way. I think it's worth adding that.
Expansion pack.
So you're paying more every month.
Yeah, you're paying for the Nintendo Online, which you pay for anyways. But now you have to pay more. Now, when we record this, we don't know how much it is extra.
Right. They said they'd announce that soon.
Right. Maybe by the time this actually goes up, they'll come out. But right now, we don't know. So it's you're paying more on top of your thing just to play these games, which you can't even download.
Right. You still won't be able to. It's a digital rights management. It's a DRM thing.
It's just the same thing that the NES and SNES emulators are.
Yeah. But the difference is, if I hypothetically download Super Mario 64 or...
For the sake of the argument.
If I download that or I download some other N64 game like F-Zero or whatever, unless someone comes to my house and sends me a cease and desist and says, take that off your computer,
jeez,
I have that forever.
Right.
That's the thing. And I know that there are legalities to that, right? If you don't own the game and you didn't rip the files and stuff, a lot of people don't understand emulation. Actually, if you had the console, for example, I have a PS2.
Mm-hmm.
My PS2 has a BIOS in it.
Mm-hmm.
That helps run the machine. It's like a key. The door is not the problem. The door is the system. So downloading that stuff at this point is fine, but stealing a BIOS is where it's a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I take my BIOS from my PS2, rip it, and put it in my PC in order to play that emulation software, and then I take my DVD drive and I put in a copy of Silent Hill 2 and I run it off my computer, that is legal.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing illegal about that.
Right.
But the problem with this stuff, especially when it gets into older games, N64, any of this, and it's not just retro, GameCube, I don't think that's super retro. Wii, that's not super retro.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's getting there, but it's not. Those games are now inaccessible to a lot of people because of price points, where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you want to buy Ocarina of Time and maybe you want the box? Well, that's like over $100. That's like $150, $200,
right.
Whatever we want to charge you. It's really bad for Pokemon, where you're taking a crapshoot if it's even a legitimate copy, because so many bootlegs are running around. I'd almost say there's more bootlegs than legitimate ones at this point. And the bootlegs don't save right. But say you want Pokemon Emerald. Oh, well, you just want the cartridge? That'll be $115, please.
Yeah.
Oh, but if you want the box, which you don't need, but say you wanted it, that's like $300.
Mm-hmm.
So those games are inaccessible to people. And let's say a Game Boy Advance emulator came to the Switch, but it's the same thing where you only get to use it online. Well, as soon as people either A, don't want to pay that extra money just to basically stream a game to their system and not even get to own it, or that service goes away and they can't do that anymore, they're immediately going to go online to whateverroms.com and download that game for free.
Yep.
Immediately. All this kind of stuff does is encourage emulation, which in the past I used to say, like, it's kind of annoying because I understand the laws and I used to not understand the consumer side of it. I used to say, like, well, if you don't buy the product, yeah, you shouldn't be able to play it. But like, I'm at the point where it's like, they don't let you buy the product.
Right.
My stance on that over the last probably 10 years has completely reversed to the point where I have no sympathy for them, for people doing this, because they have set up the ecosystems that encourage you to do that.
Right.
And the eShop's the beginning point of it. I'm sorry, like, I know that was a bit of an aside.
Right.
But my point is the way that they've set up these systems on their eShop and in other ways encourages that, because it doesn't let you play the games you want to throw your money at them to play. You want to give them money.
Yes.
And they won't take it.
Yeah, well, what it really boils down to is just the eShop is set up in a way that you can go buy new games on. New games or slightly old games. It's not set up in a way that you want to play anything from like 4 years ago. Yeah. Unless that game was on the Switch already. But my point is, like, it's set up in a way where it's like, oh, I want to go play the new Skyward Sword remaster for the Switch. I can go on the eShop and find it. But if you want to play I don't know why you'd ever want to do this, but if you want to play the original Skyward Sword, for whatever reason, over the remaster,
I love motion controls.
It's not on there.
Right.
It would be on the Wii U eShop. You can go onto there and play the original. Again, I don't know why you'd do that over the remaster anyways, but maybe someone likes it.
There's a lot of games, though, that at the time of recording this, you can play. Metroid Prime Trilogy again. Yep. Maybe the HD remaster will be announced between this going up and us recording it. Doubt it, but maybe.
Right.
But at the moment, you can't even play those games.
Mm-hmm.
They're just gone. The eShop ignores Nintendo's history while promoting piracy and emulation and really kind of nagging the fans to throw more money at a monthly subscription that they don't want.
Right.
One of the things that always set Nintendo apart was caring about their history.
Mm-hmm.
They did a bad job in the past listening to fans. They did a bad job with handling content creation where they'd go after YouTubers or Twitch streamers or whatever. But they always handled their history well and made their games accessible.
Yep.
And it seems like the days of that are just gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it really bothers me, I suppose.
Yep, it bothers me too. The only closing thought I had is just, I wish it was better, because I genuinely think the Nintendo Switch is, my personal opinion here, the best Nintendo system in terms of everything, like all around everything. I think it's probably the best. And it just sucks that the eShop is the worst
Right.
of any of the Nintendo systems that have had the eShop. Even the 3DS eShop is better.
Yeah.
So it's like, it sucks that it's worse, not only in just the amount of games on it, in terms of the efficiency, in terms of all that stuff. It's not the best.
No.
At all. It's not good. And it sucks that it's on such a great console.
Yeah. It's really a shame. It's frustrating. It makes me feel like they could just do much better.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Do you have a Switch? What are your thoughts on its capability to access games? Are you fine with the whole pay per month to get game X, Y, and Z and not be able to own them other than that? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think this encourages emulation? I really do. I really think this pushes consumers to just say, I'm not going to bother and go take the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's legal, but I think that it pushes a lot of people to that point where they just don't care.
Right.
So let me know what you think down there. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content if you enjoyed it. Obviously, this is not a Nintendo channel, but we are trying to cover some more Nintendo stuff going forward sometimes because we both like the games they make and have a lot of fun with them. And it's not because we hate them. It's just because we know what they're capable of. And we want to see that because it's a fantastic company when they really, really try and give access to their games that people want to play. So we'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shway.